Hello everyone and welcome to the Middle Earth Marathon, the Middle Earth Marathon video. It's been a crazy month. A lot of things have happened, a lot of stress, a lot of emotions, but despite all the happenings in this month, I did manage to get some reading in. And no, it's not Halloween. I dress up like this every day. Okay? So this marathon was hosted by, I hope I get the names right. Celestria, Reese, Holly, and Christy, I believe. And for this, we have two bingo boards. There's the Loader one and the Hobbit one, and I love the Hobbit. I love Lord of the Rings. I love how Frodo, as you watch the movies, just slowly looks like he's more and more constipated. I love Aragorn. I love Legolas. Enough said. So I ended up choosing the Lord of the Rings one because I found the prompts to be a little bit easier. And so the first book that I was the Beekeeper's Apprentice by author's name, insert author's name. We follow Mary Russell, and she starts off as 15 years old in the book. And she just one day runs into literally Sherlock Holmes. He's in his 50s, retired, and he's just tending to the bees. You know, as you guys know, Sherlock Holmes, he's the great beekeeper. That's what he's known for. And so they start an unlikely duo. They start an unlikely friendship, and they go on like little mysteries and all that. And overall, this book caught me by surprise. I feel like it had a hold on me in the way that like I would read something and the writing style was so unique but also like confusing at times. I'd read something, I'm like, I have no idea what just happened, but I'm hooked. Like I could not put the book down. So I did enjoy this book. There's a lot of books in the series. I don't think I'm going to go through all the books. That's a lot. So the second book that I read was the Second Breakfast Prompt. So the sequel to a series. And for this video, I was going to make a joke and like open up with me eating food and be like, oh, this is my second breakfast. But the problem is that this is not a food ASMR video, and so you're not going to get any of that. However, I did do midterms this month, and some of my professors were like Gandalf in the way that they did not want me to pass. The book that I read for that prompt was the second book to the Kaylee Quinn series, and that was Firestorm by Nancy Mel. And I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the first one too. I don't really read Christian suspense, but I am enjoying this series, and as the title shows, there is a lot of fire in this book. There might be, you know, some like romantic sparks maybe, but there's also a lot of like fire as in like run. So I would be wary if you have any trauma surrounding house fires. Probably don't read this book. But overall, I did enjoy it. We explore Kaylee Quinn's relation with her family as well. And she and her partner investigate, and this book was very intriguing. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I will read the third book at some point. So the next book that I read was The Love Story. And I don't really read romance. I'll read books that have romance in them, but I am not a romance reader, and so I did find a book though, and I found out about this book through Lindsay from BFCG's channel. She talked about this book a little bit, and it sounded intriguing because there's some like, I guess, secret identity in it, and I love that. But I read Georgiana? We're going to go with that. Georgiana's Secret by Arlim Hawks. And we have Georgiana, who disguises herself as a boy on a ship, and I think the term is cabin boy. I forgot what the term was, but she basically serves the captain on a ship, and this captain is actually her father. But kind of the reason why she's disguising herself and staying with her father is because she is escaping her grandmother who traumatized her, abused her, stuff like that. And so you don't see any of that in the book, but she does have memories from that, and so she's disguised as a boy. We have Lieutenant Peyton, who is on the ship, and he becomes very protective of Georgiana, and well, she goes by the name George, and he becomes very protective of her, and then overall they develop feelings. And I'm not a romance reader, but for a romance book, I found it good. Not a book I would typically choose, but it was like a mix of like Mulan and The Little Mermaid. And, I generally enjoyed it, and it was very clean. The next book that I read, I have things to say about. This is a very interesting book, but I needed a book that has like a comedic element in it. And my first thought was, oh, Jen Toronto. But I read a book by her last month, and so I kind of wanted to change things up. So I thought this would be a good excuse to continue the Lady Jane Eyre series. I read the second book. Each book is its own like imaginative story of Jane Eyre. And so I read My Plain Jane, and I really enjoyed that book. It was easy to understand, it was funny, very clean. I really enjoyed that book. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to try My Lady Jane, which is part of that series, and according to reviews, this book is hilarious and better than the other books in the series. I tried this book, and unfortunately I will be dehauling it because this was the strangest book I have ever read. We have King Edward, and he is dying, and so he's trying to find like the next heir to pass on his throne. We also have like two groups. There's like one group of people who are just normal, and there's another group of people who can change into a certain animal and back. And so there's kind of like a rivalry between these two groups. There's some political intrigue. So at first reading this book, I was enjoying it. I enjoyed a chunk of it, but then I just didn't. And then after a while, I just didn't like it. The humor is really weird. Definitely felt different than My Plain Jane. This one, there were some like sexual references a little bit. I guess like crude humor throughout the book. At first I thought it was kind of funny, but then after a while I was done. And at the end of the book, I'm like, I don't know what I just read. It's 500 pages long. It's one of those books where I kind of regret reading it because it was just so weird. And you can take what I say with a grain of salt because I know Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day. I'm pretty sure, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure she gave this book 5 stars. If you are looking for like a clean book recommendation that's funny, I do recommend My Plain Jane. I really enjoyed that one. I want to try the third book in the series and see how clean that one is, or like if it's funny or not. But overall, yeah, this book didn't turn out how I expected. So the last and final book that I read, I say that because I do have 50 pages left of this book, but I do have like 9 hours left of October, so like I'll easily get this read. So the sun decided to come. The next one was, or the last prompt that I did was a dark and dreary, oh my gosh. A dark and dreary place. And at first I couldn't think of what to do for this. I'm like, what book is like super dark that I have on my TBR? I don't really read those books. But I watched Celestria's video where she like planned out all of her reads, and she mentioned Jamie Jo Wright, and I was like, oh duh. Like, why didn't I think about that? So I read The Tempest at Annabelle's Lighthouse, and this book took me for a loop. And I'm not at the very end of this book, but there's a lot of things that have been revealed. And wow, this book, just like, she took a lot of risks in this book and did so well. Like, there's so many layers and details and spooky things in this book, and I was just really impressed, and I'm enjoying this book. It's very dark. There are dark elements in this book, but overall I'm really enjoying it. I'm almost done. We have the present day where our main character is an author, and so she goes to Annabelle's lighthouse to kind of explore, get some answers, and so she could possibly write a book. And then we go to the past where we have a couple of different characters and their lives are like a mystery. And like we have, what's her name? Rebecca, who, she has like no memories. And so she's trying to figure out what happened in her past and who she is. And in the past, there's just a lot of spooky things going on. And then I found like the present day, there were a lot of honest conversations and just so much growth. Overall, amazing book. Yeah, so those are the books that I read. Let me know if you guys have read any of these. And, like and subscribe, all the things. It's been a hard month, and so I am really excited to do this video and to talk to you guys in the comments. But until next time, bye.